Right now, we're good. Okay, great. Thanks. Good morning. I'm Terrence Wall, and I'm thrilled to host this fantastic panel today. And I appreciate everyone being here. And I see everyone is also here with their best friend. If you look around, you're here with your best friend. But if you're looking around, you want to just look down to the left a little bit, because this is your best friend, and the meeting today is about American National Heart Month. The best friend is the one who's with you every single day, the one that gets excited when you're excited, that feels sad when you're feeling sad, that is broken and can break the fellow best friends out there. We're talking about your heart that's known you since before you were born, that's with you every single day, that beats for you, that beats quickly when you're excited, and is with you every single day. And sometimes we forget about our best friends, don't we? But not today. Today is Heart Health Month, and that's what this is all about. I want to have a big shout out to Ralph Zucker and his team at Inspired at Bellworks. Thank you so much for having us here. Big round of applause for Ralph Zucker, please. Thank you. This is a Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce event, our ChamberCast, and we're thrilled to bring this to you today, live streaming and also in person. And we also want a big shout out today for our two special sponsors, Home Helpers of Freehold, serving the Monmouth County area, and Seaview Orthopedics. You can give them a round of applause too. Now, in a moment, we're going to go around the room so folks can briefly, we have a big crowd, so briefly share who you are in your company so everyone knows, so you can share and build your business, and most importantly, build relationships. But I want to specifically share Home Helpers Home Care's story. In-home care for seniors, those with disabilities, illness, or recovering from injury or surgery. Our owner of the local Home Helpers, Howard Stein, is here with us today. They help provide exceptional care for your loved ones when you can't be there, and he's going to share that story in a moment. Also, Seaview Orthopedic and Medical Associates, thank you so much for also being a sponsor. And by the way, on your desks, on the tables there's information about the Monmouth Regional Chamber and information you can use for your company and be a sponsor as well, so we can share your story here. Seaview Orthopedic and Medical Associates is committed to providing you with quality orthopedic care for over 30 years. They're board certified and fellowship trained. Seaview Ortho physicians specialize in general orthopedics, as well as surgery, the spine, neck, back, hand, wrist, and elbow, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, right? That's basically the story. Anything that you need, contact Seaview Orthopedic. Pain management and osteoporosis as well. They have 6 convenient locations, including also right here in Holmdel. So stay tuned for our next topic coming up in March. Now, let's get to this. That's great. Let's start off with our sponsors. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Howard Stein. I'm the owner of Home Helpers Home Care. My office is in Freehold, New Jersey. We service the greater Monmouth County area. Events like this are so important. One, for community education. We're talking about a really important topic today, so thank you to our speakers today. That's why I thought it was really important for a company like mine to support an education event like this, a community event like this. It's so important. And as the owner of Home Helpers, I haven't gotten involved not only in the chamber, but also in things like the Home Care Association of America on their legislative committee, so that we can do other important good things in the community, like advocate for the Elizabeth Dole Home Care Act, which is going to enable veterans to get more in-home care. And veterans is also a topic that's really important to me as a VA provider. Being able to advocate for veteran families and provide compassionate care to those veterans is something that's really important to me. Just lastly, on Home Helpers, we've been, as a franchise, the business has been around for 25 years. My office is been open for 3 years, and in those 3 years, we've managed to achieve a lot, and I'm very proud of that. But this year, we got a 2023 Caring Star Award from Caring.com. We've also received the Home Care Pulse Best of Provider and Employer of the Year Award. So those are meaningful things, right? And that's because we're able to provide exceptional care in the community, but I don't do that by myself. We get exceptional outcomes because we work with great providers like you to support in that care continuum, and that's why events like this are so important. That's why the chamber is really important. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate that.
Okay, and our Seaview Orthopedic sponsor. I'm going to talk a little bit quick here because in the interest of time, so if you have any questions, see me after. My name's Layla. I'm the marketing representative for Seaview Orthopedic and Medical Associates. We've actually been in business for 40 years now, celebrating 40. We have to update the website, obviously. 30 plus doctors. We do orthopedic needs from head to toe, and we also have physical therapy at all of our locations. We are actually going to be doing a grand reopening of our Holmdel office really soon. So we're going to be doing a reveal. It's going to have more orthopedic patient rooms as well as an expanded physical therapy, acupuncture to better service our patients. We also have 6 offices in Middlesex, Monmouth, and Ocean counties. To stay up to date with everything Seaview, best way to do that is Facebook and Instagram at Seaview Ortho, or visit our website, www.seaviewortho.com. We have podcast updates. I am the podcast host. If anybody wants to listen to me talk to our doctors. Staff engagement, really good tidbits on orthopedic tips and things like that. So check us out. If anybody has questions, again, my name's Layla, and you can see me after the meeting.
Thank you.
So we're going to go around really quickly. We're just going to say our name and our company or organization, okay?
Goodness, such pressure. I'm Tara Demyanovich, local Holmdel resident all my life, and I work for Community Affairs and Resource Center. I own Outside the Box Gift, and I'm the vice president of the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Woo, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rich Greco. I work for Swan Hospice. We're a local hospice provider in the New Jersey area. So thank you.
Good morning. I'm Marianne McMahon. I'm with Conover Buyer Associates. We are an insurance agency for all of your insurance needs.
Is the mic on?
The mic's off.
Yeah, it's on. Just a little closer, louder. Are you done? Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Fugit. I'm Director of Recreation for Care One at Holmdel, and I'm the one that keeps everybody happy while your loved ones are getting stronger and healthier.
Thank you, Michelle.
Gary Gelman, Gelman Images, full service photography, video production. We're in our 34th year.
Good morning, Carrie Kuskowski from The Connection. We're a managed IT service provider.
Good morning. My name is Therese Rolke. I'm the Executive Director of this incredible Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, everybody, for coming today.
I'm Kathleen Hoffman. I'm the Administrative Assistant for the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Yes,
yes. Good morning. My name is Erica Boyer. I'm a financial advisor with Edward Jones, and I am a board member of the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome. Thank you.
Morning, gang. Mark Vigiani. I represent Keller Williams Realty. I don't buy and sell homes. I help people achieve their goals when there's an element of real estate involved. And I am also a board member of the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce.
thank you.
Hi, good morning. I'm Helene Quinn. I am a resident of Holmdel and owner of Byzantia. I import and sell handmade crosses imported from Greece.
Hi, my name is Amy Wright, and I'm a local real estate agent with Coldwell Banker.
Also, Helene is representing today Holmdel Foundation for Educational Excellence. It's a foundation that supports the Holmdel school system. So we need sponsors for Battle of the Faculties, for the HFEE Spring Gala, right, as well?
Yeah, if anyone's interested in being a sponsor, I have information. Let me know.
If anyone's interested, go ahead.
If anyone's interested, I have information. Let me know.
We try to feature a nonprofit, usually somehow connected to Holmdel at each event. Okay.
Hi, my name is Anita Chidiak, and I'm a publisher with Decided Excellence Catholic Media. Together, we are launching an exclusive faith-based magazine for Holmdel and Colts Neck homeowners.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Lucian Chidiak. I'm an executive at Mitchell Cosmetics International Skincare, and that's pretty much it. So.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Paul Thurston, and I am owner of T Marketing. Thank you.
Laura Onsi, Communications Director at Brookdale Community College.
Good morning. My name is Ray Taha, and we do cardiac rehabilitations for patients after cardiac surgeries at home. So the patients that they cannot come to us, we'll go to them and we'll offer physical, occupational, speech, nutrition, and pain management.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Anthony Lebecci. I'm a Holmdel resident. I'm also the owner of Benamont Worksite Advisors. We're a full-service employee benefits firm. And have a good day.
Good morning. My name is Denise Payne, and I am owner of a digital marketing agency called MonmouthHealthAndWellness.com, and I have an online directory featuring health and wellness providers. And it's my first meeting at the Chamber. I'm very happy to be here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dhaval Shah. I'm Chief Technology Officer at Rainbow Secure, a company that provides security and compliance for your business. We help you secure your emails, your websites, and your business data with fun and strong authentication. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Gianna Retigliano. I'm a senior at Holmdel High School, and I'm sitting in for a friend today who is part of the internship program at Holmdel High School, and she interns at GE Healthcare.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I'm Marge Guglielmo from Press Communications. You'd think I'd know how to use a mic, but really I sell. That's Thunder, The Boss, The Breeze, and B98.5. Love to help you out.
Sylvia Allen from Allen Consulting, but more important, from Sylvia's Children. We're celebrating 20 years of serving the children in Uganda.
Ann Brown, owner of Brown's Tutoring, test prep for 8th graders and at Math SAT. I'm here as a friend and looking forward to our speakers today.
Hi, I'm just Jennifer Sprague. I'm just here with my friends supporting them. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joan Krett, owner of Memory Keepers. We do transfers from pretty much anything media to digital.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Angela Ashley. I'm Director of Development for Infinite Care, soon to be Red Bank Facility for Rehabilitation, Red Bank Rehabilitation Center for Healing. Welcome, everybody, and I'm looking forward to the speakers.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Minshall. I am the traveling pet nanny. I specialize in in-house pet sitting.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
All right, good morning, everyone. Mike Chevalino, Executive Director at SCAN, the Good morning, Senior Citizens Activities Network. Great to see you all here. Just came in from the rain, so it's better we stay right here and network for a while, I think. Good morning.
Well, hi, everyone. I'm Steve Dnistrian. I'm a consultant and an executive coach out of Colts Neck. I'm also a newly declared candidate for the State Senate in Legislative District 11. But most importantly today, I am Cindie Dnistrian's husband, and you will hear her story today.
Good morning, everyone. Also a Holmdel resident, Brian Foster. I own BFF Lending Services, a full mortgage company here in Holmdel.
Brian is also a public servant. He served on the Holmdel Board of Education, and he is now one of our Holmdel Township Committeemen. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Adrienne Marsigliano from Exit Realty East Coast, helping buyers and sellers get their desired goals. I'm also a longtime Holmdel resident and a founding member of the Commerce.
Of the Holmdel Chamber of Commerce. And I like your tagline.
Oh. Ask Adrienne, 908-601-3766.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Erin Faruggia. I am Director of the Mid-Level Practitioners, Physician Assistant at Advanced Heart and Vascular of Central Jersey. We are located in Colts Neck, and this is our 3rd year.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Nehal Mehta, President and co-founder of Rainbow Secure, and we are helping business to secure their digital asset from outsider, and with our new innovation, we can help them. Thank you.
Hi, Al Eloise, your independent insurance broker. I specialize in Medicare as well, because I'm a Medicare specialist. And I service all kinds of health insurance programs, life insurance, etc., annuities. I'm also a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I'm on the board as well. And I'm also a tennis coach at Monmouth Regional High School. Monmouth Regional Chamber, no, Monmouth Regional High School. And I play the piano.
And he's our piano man. Thank you. Yes.
Good morning. My name is Beth McGovern. I am from Holistic Care Hospice, helping you and your loved ones through the most difficult times in the most holistic way.
Hi, everyone. I am Victoria Vaisbird. I represent Marquee, more importantly, the Jewish Home of Freehold Skilled Nursing and Rehab. Fun fact, 2% of all nursing homes are accredited with the AHA. I'm proud to say all 5 of our Jersey Shore homes are accredited with the AHA. It's a wonderful, wonderful cardiac program we have, and if anybody needs anything, I'm here for your needs.
Did we get everyone in the audience here? I'm Jeannie Wall. I'm the owner of Hometown News LLC, publishing for Tap Into for Holmdel, Colts Neck, Middletown, Hazlitt, and Keyport. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, sometimes we take our best friends for granted, and in a way that could be a good thing because we know that they're there for us always, and that's the analogy with the heart that's beating within you right now. And so the topic is about to get really deep and very interesting for you, and hopefully the ripples in the pond go well beyond this building into your communities, into your companies, and into your friends and relationships. So it's not typical to have such an incredible panel where we're going to talk about, well, they're going to talk about what happened, right? And we are honored to have Dr. Peter Faruggia here as well, who can discuss why it happened, what's happening to you at that time. And also with Jim Schatzle, where he's going to share with you that everyone in this room can be a hero, the technology and the infrastructure that enables folks to avoid significant issues depending on time and those critical elements that are so important. I know serving as a vice president squad, but as a volunteer BLS EMT, how critical those moments are to get where you need to go, to get that patient to the qualified providers as fast as possible and safely as possible so they have a second chance at life. So I want to introduce, we have Vincent Parisi here, Cindie Dnistrian, Dr. Peter Faruggia, and Jim Schatzle, who I remember as a paramedic in Monmouth years ago when I would say, what's the ETA and the medics? And if I knew Jim Schatzle was on a rig, I knew that adult or that child was in very good shape. Vincent and his wife have lived in Holmdel for 36 years. They have 2 grown daughters and 5 grandchildren, worked as a president of New York and New Jersey financial services firm, and was a financial advisor for 40 years. He's a survivor of sudden cardiac arrest, also called sudden cardiac death. Okay? And he's going to share his personal health journey and fill us on some of the ways he's improved his life and overall health after nearly losing it. Cindie Dnistrian is here as well. Thank you, Cindie, and thank you also, Peter, for being here. Cindie and her husband, they live in Colts Neck. They have 3 adult children. Before being a stay-at-home mom, she was a special education teacher, receiving her undergrad at Villanova and her master's in special ed at Fairfield University. Prior to and throughout the pandemic, she worked at Hackensack Meridian Nursing and Rehabilitation in Shrewsbury, part of the COVID team, part of the front line in this devastating pandemic. Cindie's part of the administrative team at Atlantic Pediatric Orthopedics in Shrewsbury. She is a survivor of a major heart health emergency that nearly took her life. She actually flatlined, and she's going to share with us her personal story to help save your life and the life of your friends and get the information out there that's helpful, news that you can use that can bring life safety to you and your family. Her healing journey and the significant changes she has made to take care of her best friend, her heart. Well, our best friend's over there, isn't he? So, Dr. Peter Faruggia is an interventional cardiologist and vascular specialist. His private practice is Advanced Heart and Vascular of Central Jersey. It's located in Colts Neck. Spent 8 years working for Barnabas Health Medical Group, functioning as the director of outpatient vascular medicine and the chief of cardiac cath lab at Monmouth Medical Center. That experience has led him to develop an improved concept for care delivery. His Advanced Heart and Vascular of Central Jersey focuses more on the patient, physician-patient relationship, puts the patient above all. That's the core principle that serves as the why behind the creation of their practice. They live in Colts Neck with his wife Erin and their 4 children. He's in the business of helping save your life. And one of the items we're going to be talking about today is our relationship with food and the critical impact that has on making sure that if you end up in a situation where you need cardiac intervention, whether it's an electrical issue, like I had supraventricular tachycardia many years ago, which was ablated with no residual effects, or it's what you may refer to as a plumbing issue, atherosclerosis, You hear stents and things of that nature. What happens after the procedure? What percentage of folks go back to the same types of dynamics and the muscle memory, whether it's the relationship with food or exercise or lack thereof, and how you can change that and make the difference for yourself or your family. And last but certainly not least is Team Life's founder and president, Jim Schatzle. He's been involved in emergency medical services for over 30 years. You see, you have a power panel here of 4 powerful people with powerful stories. He was an EMT, firefighter, paramedic, interning at Johns Hopkins and Shock Trauma Center, Baltimore, Maryland. In '94, Jim established Team Life, a training in AED, that's automatic external defibrillators. You hear about pads and Clear and things like that in TV and movies. Well, it's real. And it also is local. You can have these in your home. You can have them with a family member who you may be concerned about. You can have them for yourself. He established Team Life, this training and AED sales company, as a motivated team of healthcare professionals, and trained thousands of people in CPR, AED, and advanced classes. So when it matters most is when that training matters most, and it's available to every family, every child, every adult. Jim's goal is to empower people with knowledge and equipment to increase the chance of survival in times of emergencies. Let's get started. Vince, can you share your story so folks can hear what happened?
Good morning, everyone. I was first diagnosed with an enlarged left ventricle and a cardiomyopathy in 2001, but I was asymptomatic. So although I was being monitored by a cardiologist, since I was asymptomatic, I just led a very normal life. I did work out, not as much as I have recently, but I worked out. I don't think I watched what I ate as well as I do now, but because I have a terrible sweet tooth, so between, eating cake or cookies or, not really paying much attention to really having a healthy diet, I managed to skirt by. I was fine. I thought I was fine.
If I can, just really, really quick, for anybody at home who doesn't understand the term cardiomyopathy, it refers to a reduction in the pump function of your heart that can be from several different things. I just wanted to make sure people understood.
Yes,
Thank you.
And there's a term called an ejection fraction, which is your heart's capability of pumping blood into your body from your ventricle. And mine was consistently going down and hovering around 35%. I was borderline. So I was on that borderline of whether or not they wanted to implant a defibrillator and pacemaker. And so while I was in that area of indecision, I proceeded to work out. I worked full time. I was a financial advisor and dealing with the day-to-day issues for my clients. Then I started to get into bike riding, and I was really cycling probably 4 times a week, 15 to 20 miles a day. So I was pretty intense, which also, by the way, became part of my problem because even though I was stepping up my exercise routine, I was not medicated at the level that I think looking back I should have been. I was at low dosage of certain heart meds that were available at the time. So I proceeded to do this for about 10 years, and then all of a sudden, on an October afternoon, after doing a 15-mile bike ride that morning, a 20-mile bike ride the morning before, I came home, I settled in on a Sunday afternoon to watch the New York Jets beat the New England Patriots. That in itself could give you a heart attack. And in fact, on that October 2013 Sunday afternoon, they actually beat the New England Patriots. But at 4 o'clock, my lights went out. I was sitting in my family room, and I don't have any memory. I have no memory of any shock to my system or any pain. All I know is, thank heavens, my wife was there. She came in to check on me, and she saw me gray, tilting on my recliner. She knew something was wrong. She did not know CPR. She screamed. The back door of our deck was open off to our deck in our family room. Believe it or not, our next door neighbor's sister, who was in visiting from Dubai, was a physician. She heard my wife scream, and she came into our home, and applied CPR. My wife called 911. Holmdel Rescue Squad was there within less than 10 minutes. They used a defibrillator, had to paddle me 7 times to get me back into rhythm, and they actually, 3 of my ribs were broken with the application of CPR, but they got me back breathing under my own power. The ambulance took me to Bayshore Hospital. Because I was so critical, they decided at Bayshore Hospital to put me into an induced coma, which is what they did. And because of the fragility of my situation, they air-vac'd me to Jersey Shore Medical Center. And there I was in a coma in CCU for 4 days. And that's all I don't have any memory. These are the stories my family and friends told me happened. I came out of it the afternoon, it was a Thursday afternoon, and I didn't know where I was, what had happened, but those 4 days were a blur. And they proceeded to treat me. They installed a pacemaker and a defibrillator. And 10 days later, I was discharged from the hospital. And from that day on, as I call it my rebirth day, October 20th, 2013, in those 9 years, I basically had to reinvent my eating habits, my exercise routine, what I perceived as important and priorities in my life. And it's amazing how you look at things differently after you have a near-death experience. So in those 9 years, I was able to really get my life back on track from a health standpoint. Eat much healthier. Although I have a sweet tooth, I really was able to wean myself off of processed food and sugar and things of that nature, sticking to a very healthy diet. I walk 5 miles every day. I've stayed away from bike riding. I think that's pushing the envelope a little too much. But between my workouts, my healthy diet, I retired from my business 9 years ago, and it's been a great ride. I mean, I've had 5 grandchildren since. I married off a daughter, a goddaughter, a nephew. So my whole life has changed in those 9 years, and it's really been a godsend. And I'm thankful to the healthcare professionals, to the EMT squad of Holmdel, the healthcare professionals at Jersey Shore, my cardiologist, my electrophysiologist that installed my pacemaker and defibrillator, and all the nurses that were there that tended to me when I was the most vulnerable. They were just angels. They were amazing. So
that sounds like a round of applause for Vince and his care team. Now, I want to go back. I want to go back to the moment when you were in the couch. You're sitting in the couch, and every situation is different. So this is really on a hypothetical side, doctor. What's happening behind the curtain? What's typical? Every case is different, but what's happening? Folks hear their story, but
so to kind of take apart what's going on with his heart at that time, as he said, he had this cardiomyopathy, or this reduced ejection fraction to his heart. That's around 35%. And what we know from all the clinical trials out there is that when you have a pump functions that 35% or lower, that increases your risk severely of going into a fatal heart rhythm. So likely he went into something called ventricular tachycardia, VTAC, or VFib. And when you do that, the heart's going too fast to allow it to fill properly. And when that happens, you become hypoxic, so you're not getting enough blood flow to your brain. You're not getting enough blood flow to the arteries that supply your heart. So at some point, you drop your blood pressure, and you go into some type of cardiac arrest. Now, the fact that they shocked him 7 times is a testament to the fact that, A, he had a healthcare provider there almost right away doing CPR, which is an absolute blessing, because the CPR is what enabled him to maintain brain function and be as beautiful and handsome as he is today, right? The EMS staff who came and had to shock him 7 times. I mean, he because of the CPR was able to remain in VTAC as opposed to going into something called PEA or pulseless electrical activity. So when that happens, when your heart goes into this very rapid rate where it can't fill and you're not getting enough blood flow to your brain or your vital organs, everything shuts down. So we went into what we would refer to as cardiogenic shock. Now, the algorithm for cardiogenic shock is very straightforward. They did it. Everything that he said is, bar none, exactly what the American Heart Association wants you to do, and he received top-of-the-line care. Likely when he went into Bayshore, they put him on something called the Arctic Sun. This is an assumption. Again, I haven't reviewed your medical records, and I'm not asking. But the Arctic Sun essentially is a medically induced coma where we cool your body down. And it's very important that we actually also stop your muscles from shaking so that we can cool your body down. And the purpose of that is to prevent something called reperfusion injury. Very fancy term. What the heck does that mean? So essentially means that when you allow the brain to start seeing normal blood flow again, the radicals that are produced because it was so hypoxic, meaning it wasn't getting enough oxygen for such a long period of time, can cause damage to the brain and other vital organs. But if we cool the body down, it decreases that risk of injury. So normally they would put somebody on this Arctic Sun. It's a special protocol for 48 hours and then slowly wake them up. Now, again, not knowing exactly what was going on inside of your body, but the fact that they had to maintain you in a coma for up to 4 days means likely that his pressure was a problem. Because, again, we're not dealing with a heart that has a normal pump function. We're dealing with a heart that has an ejection fraction, or the squeeze, down below 35%, which is why you went into that dangerous rhythm to begin with. So it was probably kind of very difficult we use the phrase wean somebody off of the pressors or the medication to raise his blood pressure to keep him alive as this process continued. I think it's a testament. I refer to patients like you as unicorns because we're almost a full decade out from his index event. And look at the life that he's living. And he's doing it the right way by making the right choices, by putting in the effort, eating well, making sure he's taking his medications and following up appropriately. The painful part of this is he's a unicorn, not the norm. What does that mean? I can tell you, so I'm a plumber, not an electrician. So he had electricians working on him. As a plumber, I can tell you 95% of the patients that I treat, whether it be emergently in the middle of the night or on my table for a scheduled procedure for stenting, go back to doing what put them on my table to begin with within a year of the index event. Because they don't have the support, they don't understand what really healthy eating means, they don't understand what exercises they should be doing, and it's so much easier to fall back into the lifestyle you were leaving, especially since when you're going in for that emergency, I go in through the wrist for a cardiac catheterization. There are some people who still will go in through your groin, especially in an emergency, but I go in through your wrist. And at the end of the day, you may have a little dimple there. That's it. So there's no long-term sign to you as a patient of what all of your bad habits led to. Yeah, you may be on medicine. Yeah, you may have to go see your cardiologist every 4 to 6 months. But because of our innovation and where interventional cardiology has gone, the people requiring that sternotomy, that big midline scar from open heart surgery, has been cut probably in 10. So the one saving grace that you got from requiring open heart surgery is you had to wake up every day and look at yourself in the mirror naked before or after you got in the shower or whenever you want to, and know that this is a constant reminder of your bad decisions. You don't have that anymore for putting stents in. It doesn't exist.
Thank you very much for that. And now you, Vince, had mentioned that you were had to be cardioverted or shocked 7 times. Jim Schatzle, that's not because the machine's broken, right? Like, what's happening there?
Right. So let's talk a little about the scariness of sudden cardiac arrest. So every 90 seconds in America. So when we did the intro, and Terrence did the introduction, by the way, thank you for having all of us here today. Somebody in America went into sudden cardiac arrest. It happens every 90 seconds. It's 1,000 people a day. It happened yesterday. It's happening while we're doing this talk, and it will happen tomorrow. Only 5 to 7% of them survive. That's the scary part. So how do we change that? When somebody's heart stops, 8 out of 10 of them are in a shockable rhythm for the first 4 minutes of that arrest. So starting CPR was key because that bought us some additional minutes, and getting that automated external defibrillator on his chest that quickly restarted his heart. Some hearts are a little more stubborn. So yours just, wanted to test the technology a little bit. And the machines are so perfectly designed that you cannot shock somebody that doesn't need it. It's an impossibility. So most patients, somewhere between 1 and 3 shocks that I've done, probably you've done, we get either a better result, of course we want, or it goes in a different direction. Sometimes it requires more than that. But getting trained and knowing what AEDs are, everybody here, if you didn't see them when you came in, on your way out, you'll see AEDs all through the corridors of Bellworks here. So that's the importance of that technology.
And for everybody here that may think AEDs, defibrillator, that's just out of reach to me, and I can't afford something like that. It sounds really expensive. Can you speak to that briefly?
It is. It's not cheap, but it's not
No,
terrible.
because it's not that cheap. I mean, it's not that inexpensive.
No.
That's what I mean.
So they're $1,600. So for corporations and places of worship and municipalities to have AEDs, they budget for those. But there are plenty of people that my company deals with that get them for their homes. So it's something that you should think about.
Right, and if you wanted a comparison, what's more important, the AED or this $1,500 phone? Right? So if, it's all relative, isn't it? We have another incredible story. Thank you, Vince, for that. Thank you, Jim and Doctor. Cindie, can you share your story? And then also, similarly, Doctor, we like to, every case is different, but what's happening? What was happening there? Go ahead, Cindie, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. You hear me?
Can you hear okay back there? All right, great.
Good. Okay. March 25th, 2022 was my day. I was 57 years old, and I died that day. I had no idea. I was healthy. I had been to my regular doctor just a year before. No blood pressure. No, my cholesterol was fine. I had gained weight during COVID. I was not exercising as much during COVID. Had a lot of stress being in that sandwich generation of my kids growing and off to college and my parents elderly. But it was something I never expected. I worked all day. I went to Trader Joe's afterwards because I was making a trip to Connecticut to see my elderly parents. And all I had was shoulder pain. Intense shoulder pain. We had done a lot of computer work. We were working on a project, and I thought, oh gosh, I'm lean. And I just kept all day kind of doing that, typical. I came home, I asked my husband, would you please massage my shoulders? They feel like rocks. They were so hard. And we were going to watch the NCAA tournament. I mean, it was a Friday night. I was going to have a glass of wine. We were going to sit. And it progressively got worse to the point where it hurt so much that I felt nauseous. Now, in 30 years of marriage, I've never said to him, I need to go to the hospital. And I said to him, I need to go to the hospital. I didn't think it was my heart. I didn't know what it was. But I knew in my gut something just wasn't right. So my first point of advice for people is always, especially women, trust your gut. Because had I waited, I'm going to lay down for a little while and see if this gets better. I'll put a heating pad on it, see if it gets better. I didn't do that. I went right to Jersey Shore, and it saved my life. So it takes 20 minutes. I live in Colts Neck. It takes 20 minutes. I walked to the car with my husband. He drove me. He said, do you want to pack a bag? I said, of course not. I'm coming home. We got to Jersey Shore. By the time I got to Jersey Shore, they said, they met us, and they said, can she walk or does she need a wheelchair? And he said, oh, she can walk. And I said, oh, no, I need a wheelchair. I could hardly breathe. I could hardly talk in that 20 minutes. That's how fast it went. So for me, what ended up happening was they brought me into triage. My husband, Steve, they had him sit in the waiting room. I said, give me my charger so I could charge my phone with my eyes closed. I'll call you when they're ready for you. And that was it. I don't remember how they got me from wheelchair onto the bed, which they did. I do remember them saying, we're going to attach you to an EKG machine and do an AKG. The last thing I remember is her tearing off the EKG, the nurse, and running. And that's all I remember. I went into a massive heart attack, and I flatlined. And I lost my pulse for 8 minutes. It was, they went out to get Steve and said, you need to come with us. You can't come in the room, but your wife is critical. He's thinking I'm in there for a pinched nerve in my neck, you know. So he had to sit outside and see. It was change of shift, and there were day shift, night shift, so everybody's staying. And the team was incredible. They were not going to let me die. And they performed CPR on me for 8 minutes. I had epi. They shocked me twice. I was out during all of this. And then they got a pulse back. And it was back for about 3 minutes. And then I went down again for another 2. So at that point, they ran and they said to Steve, you need to sign these things. She has, they believed, a blockage. They did the scans. She got 100% blockage in one of her arteries. He ran behind them. They pushed me down and right up to the cath lab to do that. So I had a stent put in. Went to CCU. I was in a medically induced coma for 24 hours. That next day, they said to Steve, you know, we want you to prepare yourself. She was without oxygen for a long time, and we're just not sure what she will be when she wakes up, what deficits she will have, if she'll be able to walk, if she'll be able to talk. We just don't know. And though they started to wean me off and started to bring me back, and of course I was intubated, so I couldn't talk, but I could see him, and I knew I was in ICU because I could hear beeping, I could see machines, but I was kind of toward this side, and Steve was right here. And I was trying to write on his chest, I see you. Like I wanted to ask him, am I in ICU? And poor Steve, I tell him this story all the time. He said, I see you too. and I proceed to go. And he said to the nurses, she's going to be fine. So, you know, it was long. I was in CCU for 3 or 4 days, and then they moved me to the telemetry floor where they could monitor me. So I was in the hospital for 3 weeks, out of work from March 25th till November 1st, just went back. But really changed my life. Really, really changed my life. Nothing goes in my mouth unless it is heart healthy. I exercise. I've lost 63 pounds. I have a way to go, but I'm going to do it, which is hard because I'm on lots of medications that make you not want to lose weight, but I am going to do it. The emotional part of it was brutal, really brutal. I would cry a lot in the beginning. For what could have been, and why am I still here, and what did I do wrong, and what did, you know, all of these things go through your head, and the fear, like you have a backache, and oh my gosh, is it again? You know, that fear is very real. So I went to fix that fear. I went and I spoke with somebody. I went to a psychiatrist and spoke with somebody. I went to a nutritionist and dealt with him. I dealt with all of me because I needed to become a priority. You know, I think sometimes as women, we're raising our families, we're taking care of parents, we're working. We put ourselves low on that totem pole. And I don't mean for all women, but many of us are that way. And it's always, oh yeah, I'll go tomorrow, I'm fine. I'll go, it's just a pain, I'll work through it. Trust your gut. Take care of yourself so that you can be there for other people. Like I tried to think, what was the reason that I stayed? And one of my purposes, so we have heart disease in my family. My mom had quadruple bypass probably 8 years ago now. She's 84, she's still living, she's doing well. My dad did not, but all of her family died early of heart disease. I should have been more proactive. I mean, I would go to a regular doctor for my yearly physical, but I didn't go to a cardiologist having that. And that really, when you have heart disease in your family, you need to check that out. Even though you feel like you are asymptomatic. I mean, we don't know what's going on. So on the outside, I'm like, I'm looking better, you know, but on the inside, you just don't know what's going on. My younger brother, 55, said to me, I am just having, this is after my heart attack. This was in in August of the same year. I'm having pain, indigestion. It's just, I'm eating Tums like there's no tomorrow. Now, he has a cardiologist because he has high blood pressure. I said, you need to go and find out more. You need to really push the issue. He ended up going for a catheterization. He had a 99% blockage in his main artery, in his LAD. He was a walking time bomb. They went in, they did a stent for my younger brother and only brother, and he's doing beautifully. So I found my purpose. I hope my next purpose is to help somebody out here, share my story.
Cindie, thank you. Thank you very much for that inspirational story. A round of applause for Cindie for being here. And it's not even your anniversary yet of that event,
One more month.
which is critical. And
But
doctor,
she's living the dream. Mm-hmm. She's doing everything the way she should be, and there's a lot to unpack from her story. I'm going to start off with something that I shared with her before we sat down today. What we know as the classic signs of heart-induced chest pain, we use the phrase unstable angina, comes from a very small study of old white men in Massachusetts. She's not an old white man from Massachusetts, last time I checked. And I learned this in the first day of med school, and I'm not saying this to be controversial, but apparently men and women are different. So the signs that you're going to present with from heart-induced discomfort are completely different. So her presenting with back pain and neck pain, shortness of breath, are equal to a man coming in with that elephant sitting on their chest, because it's just as concerning. We just don't have the data published for everyone to recognize it, but that's exactly what we would be looking for in a woman presenting. When she went into the hospital, she had a 100% blockage. Do you know which artery it was in?
The circumflex.
Circumflex. So there are three main coronary arteries. She had one in her circumflex, so a high lateral position in the heart. What happened? Well, it means she had a good amount of plaque build up inside of the arteries. Now, that plaque does not necessarily have to be occlusive, meaning severely reducing blood flow. If it was, when she was exercising, whatever exercise she was doing before the event, she would have been getting some level of discomfort while doing the exercise. But that only happens if your blockage is about 70% or greater, which is essentially what we're looking for when we do stress testing from a cardiac standpoint. Okay? However, she did have plaque. And the reason we know she had plaque is because what caused her heart attack is something called a plaque rupture, where the portion of the plaque that's facing blood flow bursts open and is now being bathed in platelets and all sorts of circulating clotting factors that result in a clot that forms and 100% closes off blood supply to that part of the heart. Now, once that happens, she probably went from it being mostly occlusive on her way into the hospital to the point when she got out of the car and needed help just going in on a stretcher or in a wheelchair, where it was 100% closing. And then she had minutes before it put her into a dangerous heart rhythm, probably V-tach, where she needed CPR, they needed to push epinephrine, maybe atropine, other medications that are part of what's called ACLS, or Advanced Cardiac Life Support, okay? And they got her back and were able to get her into the cath lab emergently and do a life-saving procedure. And it's a blessing that they were able to do that. And, you know, again, we talked before coming out on stage here. She's living the dream that I want all of my patients to live, right? God bless losing 65 pounds. It's incredible, right? But the realization has to be, we're not done, okay? It's not a matter of a number. It's not a matter of how much weight we lost. It's a matter of, are we doing everything that we can to prevent us from having another event? Now, the way that we look at heart disease over the last 20 years has completely changed. We know now that heart disease is an inflammatory disorder. It's circulating inflammation that's causing the deposit of plaque from cholesterol and other nasty stuff inside of the walls of your arteries, specifically the arteries that supply your heart. Okay, well, what do we do about that? Well, first we have to recognize what are our risk factors for heart disease, because she listed one of the top, which is a strong family history. Now, I'm here today, and I think part of your mission in her speaking and presenting her story is we need to get to people before they have to be on my table emergently. And that's my goal. When I talk to people, I don't get paid for it, but I believe strongly in prevention. Okay, I'm an interventional cardiologist. The government and insurance companies pay me well to go put stents into people. But that's not where my passion is. My passion lies in stopping people from needing that skill set. Well, how do we do that? Doctor, help me. Oh, tell me about this inflammation. What do we got to do? Well, I strongly believe in screening. And that starts in your 30s, not in your 50s. And I recommend the majority of my patients who are coming in to see me that aren't coming in necessarily with complaints, but coming in with, I have this family history, I want to get checked out, I'm sending them for something called a coronary calcium score. That establishes a baseline for me with my patient to know what their 5-year cardiac risk is going to be. And then based on that risk, we have to adjust everything in their life that's going to lead to an increase in circulating inflammation. Well, what's that? So everybody knows smoking is bad for you. If you didn't, I'm pretty sure you can read it on the side of the box. Okay? Now, when I say smoking, what I'm really talking about, and this is how I present it to my patients. I don't know anything about lung cancer except it's bad for you. I don't know anything about oropharyngeal cancer except I like to eat, and I want to be able to do that on my own. What I do know is that in that, however you're getting your tobacco, there is nicotine in there. And nicotine is a toxic drug to your arterial wall. It increases something called shear stress, it increases your pressure, and increases the likelihood of you developing this plaque inside of your arteries. The earlier you quit, the better. The problem is, if you did it for a stretch of 5, 10 years, even if it was in your 20s and 30s, it is still a huge risk factor because it enhances the probability of you developing plaque earlier in your life. Okay? Diabetics. Type 1 diabetics that's a separate issue. They have long-term instability and aren't making enough insulin for their own bodies. Type 2 diabetics is literally one of the diseases where we can ward it off just by putting in hard work. But we don't. We make excuses. And I've heard every single one of them on a daily basis, and I tell everyone, you're lying to yourself. You're not talking to me on this, you're lying to yourself. But if we can't control our diabetes, that uncontrolled diabetes raises your circulating inflammation more than anyone really accounts for. So when I talk to my type 2 diabetics, and they want me to be impressed because they have something called the hemoglobin A1C that, oh, it's 7. Well, that's way too high. Well, my doctor said it was okay. Well, your doctor's not your cardiologist. I'm your cardiologist, and I'm telling you that's 7. You need to be down to 5.7 or below, because my job is to prevent you from redeveloping plaque. Blood pressure, cholesterol. Your cholesterol may have been okay for somebody without heart disease, but if I can guarantee, if we had done a coronary calcium score on her before a year ago, I would have been having a different conversation with her about tightening control over all of her risk factors. So if you have an abnormal score, all of a sudden we have to treat you more aggressively with your cholesterol. And there are targets. We use the American Heart Association, and if we don't like that, we can go even tighter with the European Society of Cardiology and their recommendations. But we need to establish what your baseline is. Obesity. Obesity is, the 5-alarm fire word. The problem with obesity, fat in and of itself, increases your total body inflammation. There's no getting around it. It increases the amount of estrogen in circulation, and it increases the likelihood you're going to develop plaque. The problem with obesity is as follows. People use the word diet. Now, I say diet is a 4-letter word for a reason, because anybody can go on a diet. You can be successful, but the minute that you come off of your diet, you're going to go back to eating the way you were before you started said diet. And then usually you wind up putting all the weight back on and sometimes swinging 10 pounds heavier. And I don't speak to this as somebody who doesn't know. I speak to this as somebody with boots on the ground in the fight against obesity. I was a morbidly obese teenager. At 16 years old, I weighed 265 pounds and I was 5'8". I am a lifetime member of Weight Watchers twice over, because I had to learn. I had to educate myself. And there's a lot of hard work that goes into that. I would sometimes argue I learned more about nutrition in Weight Watchers than I did in medical school. Okay? But I've lived it, and I have to fight it, because here's the problem that no one really looks at. When you lose weight, you are not killing your fat cells. They lay there dormant. They shrink down. They don't have any water in them. Okay, they're not producing any circulating hormones. But the minute you start to make consistent errors in your diet and in lack of activity, they start to wake up. And when they wake up, they activate other cells around them. And then all of a sudden, the machinery that you need to fight against is activated, and now you have less energy, so you do less and you eat more, and the cycle, the negative cycle, starts up. But that's something people need to realize. When we started, we heard the words relationship with food. It sounds ridiculous, but I say it all the time. Because if we don't know how to eat healthy and what that actually means, we can't change our own lifestyles. I'll never forget, I've been very fortunate during my professional career as an attending cardiologist to form relationships with a lot of people. And my patients, I'm lucky enough that they would trust me with their lives. But I had a patient who would come in, and it was like a revolving door over the course of 2 or 3 years, where he kept on restenosing or blocking up his arteries. And I would talk to him about his diet. Yeah, no, I eat a healthy diet. And for whatever reason, on this specific day, I asked him, what does that mean to you? Because everyone will say they eat healthy, but when you get down to the bare brass of it, what does that mean to you eating healthy? Oh, well, I have a burger once or twice a week. You do what? I have a burger, but it's 90%, it's lean. Are you insane? With your heart disease, you can have a burger maybe once a month, and it shouldn't even be a burger. It should be a better cut of meat that doesn't have significant fat. But this is the problem. And as physicians, I can tell you, it's a very frustrating part of how healthcare has turned today. We don't get enough time with our patients to go over important things like this. And what's worse, we don't get paid for it. Now, personally, I don't care. If you can talk to any of my patients, I spend an overwhelming amount of time with my patients. We don't even have computers in the room because the electronic billing record that everyone is forced to sit through is ruining the physician-patient relationship. How do I know what's going on with you? How do I know what you need to hear? How do I put the screws to you about saying, listen, if you don't stop smoking, if you don't start exercising, you're going to miss out on your daughter's wedding. You're going to miss out on the birth of your grandchildren. But I don't get that if I'm sitting behind a computer and firing away questions. But that's the healthcare system that we have allowed to occur. So I don't want to go off on a tangent with that. But everybody deserves better. You deserve time. You deserve authentic physician-patient relationships. I don't make decisions for my patients when I'm talking to them. My job, and I say this to every new patient who comes in, I'm not your priest and I'm not your mother. I'm here as a learned friend to walk with you for as long as you want me. But that means you want to listen to what I have to say and incorporate this into your life. Because if you don't, I don't want to watch you kill yourself. And it's very unfortunate. I've seen too many people kill themselves by doing the things they know they shouldn't be doing. And I can tell you, I know the pain because I'm the one walking into the waiting room. You know, your husband is here. I'm the one who he's crying on while you're passed out, and you'll never know that pain when you're the patient because you're on the table, usually you're sedated. I walk into the room before and after and have daughters, sons, husbands, wives crying hysterically, scared out of their mind for their loved one. And that's pain that I carry like a cross because I care.
Peter, thank you. The powerful, powerful words, communicating the importance of taking care of yourself and others while you still can. You know, and as we bring this full circle, part of our goal here is for folks to have takeaways. They may be getting so much information now, they're like, where do I even start, right? Well, one is that this is recorded, so you can share this with your friends, share it with your family, put it on Facebook, put it on whatever social media you're using, or just tell somebody, because face-to-face contact is a lost art in our society, unfortunately. And coming from here, and we are going to take a brief moment to take a quick picture, I think, if we have, is Tom? Okay, if folks, if you would mind turning around and looking at that famous photographer up there in the railings, we're gonna. What are we doing, Tom? We're doing a wave or a countdown? Okay, ready?
No one move.
Thank you very much, Tom. You know, and we're and the photo in just absolute gorgeous Bellworks, the reimagination inspired by Somerset, which is equipped with AEDs, and safety does come first at Bellworks. And the Metroburb is open, and folks should come on down and stop by Barbella. Education, communication, training. Let's talk briefly about that as we bring this full circle, and then we may have a few questions from the public. Jim, Folks, they don't know where to start. Fortunately, from Kuwait, right?
Dubai.
Oh, Dubai, okay. From Dubai. A physician from Dubai is the reason you're sitting here today. Likely, right? So intact. Right. How do folks learn about CPR? How do the folks learn about AED? Where do they start? Where do they begin? Whether it's themselves individually or maybe they own a company and they want to get their folks trained for themselves or their families. Yeah.
So now here we are. We have the knowledge, and now there's the knowledge and doing gap that we have to combat. So one of the simplest things to take away from here is if you haven't had a CPR class in a while, take a CPR class. It's 3 hours. It's easy. It's non-intimidating. There's no test unless you're a healthcare provider and need that certification. So seek out lots of places. Each hospital has CPR classes. Team Life has CPR classes. We have 3 classrooms in New Jersey. We come out to offices. That's one of the challenges I leave with you today.
Thank you. Dr. Faruggia, what should folks think about? Is it echocardiograms, EKGs? They don't know where to start. Are there non-invasive ways that folks can get a baseline to find out how they're doing?
Right. So things need to start with seeing your medical provider. You need to assess what your overall risk is. And risk comes from several things. It comes from how old you are, how active you are. If you're a male, that's actually a significant increased cardiac risk. If you're over the age of 55, that's an increased cardiac risk. Okay? If you've ever smoked, this is a big one that people always laugh at. If you've ever used cocaine, the 80s were a very real time. And I ask everyone from my 90-year-olds down to my youngest patients, because any habitual use 30 years ago increases your cardiac risk today. Are you diabetic? Are you controlling your diabetes? Do you have undiagnosed high blood pressure or high cholesterol? The majority of people will see their doctor maybe once a year. It's not enough. If you're really interested in cardiac screening, there are very special tests. I talked about it before. Getting a coronary calcium score, which is really going to establish your baseline for 5 years of what your cardiac risk is going to be. Other testing is done based on symptoms and only appropriate when needed. You know, we can talk about EKG changes and do you have a hypertrophied heart, or is the heart muscle thickened, right? Well, that comes from long-standing uncontrolled high blood pressure. Problem is, once you get it, you can't get rid of it because your heart doesn't stop beating. So we need to minimize that. And how do we do that? Through an effective physician-patient relationship aimed at minimizing your risk factors before you need to be on the operating room table.
Before I forget, what's your company's website, your practice?
So if you go, it's ahvcj.com, stands for Advanced Heart and Vascular of Central Jersey. We have a fantastic Facebook page, beautiful photos of my wife and my team, my family. And, you know, listen, February is Heart Month, so we're trying to raise awareness, which is why I'm here today. But Heart Month doesn't stop tomorrow, March 1st. Okay? Your heart, as your best friend, to steal your line, is exquisitely important. And your health is of utmost importance. If you're married, if you're a parent, you need to make the intelligent decisions today that will impact not only your future, but the future of your children. I say this to people all the time. You have young kids? Yeah, great. How much exercise are you doing? None. Why? And then all the excuses come out. But then I hit them where it hurts. Here's the truth. You are showing your children what it means to be a responsible, or in this case, an irresponsible adult. If they don't see you exercising, they're much less likely to do the same when they are an adult. So you're not just impacting your health future, you're impacting theirs. But the minute they see you start putting effort into something you haven't before, they're going to recognize that, and either consciously or subconsciously, it's going to change their image of what they need to do for the future. So it's having the right discussions. It's getting evaluated early. It's investing into yourself. You know, one of the things that you said before, and I think it's absolutely true, women don't take care of themselves as well as they should because they put everybody else ahead of them. I love my wife. She's an amazing mother. I say it all the time. But she puts herself last. And while that makes her an amazing mom, she's not necessarily doing everything she can for herself, right? I say this to patients all the time. You cannot pour from an empty pitcher. You're trying to take care of everyone and everything else, but if you are not taking care of yourself, there's not going to be anything left for the rest of the team. On top of which, you're not providing the next generation with the understanding that it's okay and important to take care of yourself.
Essentially you need to be selfish to be selfless.
Right,
if you don't take
absolutely.
care of yourself first. And how do you bend down that number of 95%, that frustrating number, because it's habits. How do you reset your habits? How do you peel back that onion so you actually do make changes, starting right when you get back in the car today?
Yeah.
How do you push that number down?
It's a matter of being able to be honest with yourself and recognizing what you're doing or not doing. You know, I always tell the patients who come in, Doc, I can't lose weight, but I'm eating right and I'm exercising. Okay, well, I want you to write down for a week everything you put in your mouth. What time, how much, how often. Liquids and solids, no matter what it is. Be honest. And then go see a nutritionist. Because you can tell a lot from a 10,000-foot view of what you're doing in a week based on when you're hungry, when you're tired, when you're stress eating. And you can see different things in your eating patterns that if you make small but subtle changes to over time, will lead to long-term improvements in your overall health. And that becomes your relationship with food, right? Exercise is the same thing. You need to start slow but steady. And most people will say, well, I walk. Well, what does that mean? I get my steps in. That doesn't mean anything to me. Because my goal is you need to be performing athletically to get your heart rate up for 20 minutes a day minimum. What most people forget, and I think this is tied into the weight loss culture, you actually also need to, I'll use the phrase, resistance training. Okay, so I'm not going to say weight training or weightlifting because that scares too many people. I don't know how to do that, right? But you need to incorporate resistance training into whatever exercise regimen you're doing. And this is especially important for women, more than men, because it delays the onset of osteoporosis. I'm not telling you to go out and go try out for Jack LaLanne in the bikini and be, you know, Miss Muscle USA. But resistance training is so important because it raises your metabolism, right? The difference between 20 minutes of solid exercise walking for exercise, versus 20 minutes of real resistance training is the following. The minute you stop walking, your basal metabolic rate comes back down to normal. If you do it the right way, and you're performing resistance training, your metabolic rate can stay up for up to 3 hours after you've finished exercising. Now, I'm no genius. I don't know everything in the world. But if your goal is to try and lose weight, which one is going to help you more? Right? So we have to get off the, I just need to walk and that's all I'm going to do to try and lose weight, because that's not effective. Plus, if your body's getting used to or adjusting to whatever you're performing athletically, it's not enough. That's why I talk to patients about interval training. There's lots of different things that you can do. Now, I'm a big proponent of exercise. Okay, I was a power lifter over a decade ago. I still exercise in my basement. While most people put on 15 or 20 pounds during COVID, I put on 20 pounds of muscle because I was training like a beast, because I was working on ground as part of boots on the ground in our hospital system. That first 3 months was the scariest time I've ever been alive in my profession. And I hope that we never have to go through that again, because everybody was afraid and we didn't know what was going on. So I faced it as I'm trying to stop myself from getting sick. I face it as I know I'm going to get sick at some point. I need to be as healthy as possible so that my body can get through this. So my wife is here. She would complain to me. I was in my gym in my basement for an hour and a half, 5 days a week at night, 9:30 till 11 o'clock. So it was after the kids went to bed. But I was doing this A, for stress, and B, to help prepare myself for the inevitability. So you can do things. There is help out there. Sometimes it's something as little as asking for help. You know, we can't expect everybody to know how to exercise. We can't expect everybody to know how to eat well. Problems come in that insurance companies don't pay for adequate nutrition education. And seeing a nutritionist is not just a one-time stop. It's a process for personal education to, again, improve your relationship with food. Exercise. People walk into a gym, they have no idea what they're doing. But the danger is they get some young kid who's a personal trainer and will run them through the gamut and injure the person who's just getting into it. So there has to be a medium there somewhere so people who have not been in a gym can slowly move themselves into training. And that's what we're looking for. I want prevention. And the only way to do that is to get in, be seen. Let's see what your risk is. Let's calculate it. Let's see what your coronary calcium score is. And then let's modify anything that we can for you to prevent you from needing to be on my table.
Thank you very much, Peter. You know, thank you. Yeah. You know, Dr. Faruggia and Jim Schatzle, they dedicated their lives to taking care of others and wellness and in their own specialties, and it's so critically important. And other companies, organizations, Seaview Orthopedics, our sponsor, and Home Helpers, Making Life Easier, are all part of that healthcare continuum. And so thank you very much again for sponsoring this event today. It's really important. Yeah, thank you. And you see how everyone's connected. It's also connected, and that's why we're here today. It took exceptional bravery for you to come and share your story, by the way, Cindie and Vincent. And you're here for a reason too. You want people to know your story. You want people to know so they don't have that story, right? To avoid that story, or for their mom or dad, or their son or daughter. And so that's really it's thank you for that. It's so impressive. And no, I'm sure that there are a couple of excellent questions. I wanted to open it up a little bit, if we can, if the panel would be so gracious to take a couple of questions from.
Okay, and Jim, did you give your web address?
It's teamlife.com.
Thank you. And I just want to give an opinion. I wish somebody would run with legislation for making sure that there's an AED on every sports field with every high school game, every athletic game. That's what I'm hoping. There's someone out there that will run with that legislation.
I know a guy running for the state senate.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for the program. It was great. 2 questions. Vince, I don't think you gave your age 10 years ago. How old were you?
22.
I was 62.
62. And Doc, your everything was great that you said, but question I have for you is, when you see an individual's blood work, does that tell you a story that can determine much of what you will prescribe?
So everything is a continuum. Blood work is certainly a portion of it. And when we're talking about blood work, we're usually talking about lipid panels, okay? So that gives you a portion of the story, right? If they're diabetic, or even if they're pre-diabetic, what is their hemoglobin A1C? What's their fasting blood sugar? What's their kidney function doing? But that's only a portion. You know, they used to tell us in med school, 90% of a diagnosis comes out of history and physical alone. That's before testing is ordered, before blood work comes back, even before the EKG is done. If it's that critically important for us to have a strong history in physical, then why the hell is everything being so rushed today? Why are people being put down to a 15-minute time slot to be seen by their physician And during that 15 minutes, they're really only getting 3 quality minutes to talk to that physician who's firing questions from behind a computer screen. How is it possible? It's not. It's frustrating, and people deserve better, which is why I left corporate healthcare and started Advanced Heart. My team is very passionate about doing the right things for our patients because we know people deserve better.
Thank you. Thanks, Doc. Thank you. Next question.
Thank you. That was great, actually. And this is part what we do. It's not a question, but I just want to emphasize on what you just said. Number one, there's not many doctors that do what you do and take their time to talk to their patients, okay? We are physical therapists, occupational therapists. We go to their homes, actually, and we talk to them, and we spend an hour. Like, did the doctor talk to you about, healthy eating? Oh, yeah, I do eat very healthy. You go to the kitchen, oh, my God, you don't know where to start. This is supposed to be eating healthy. You don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, you're talking about sugar. Everything has sugar in it. So we do take them through the process day by day and very slowly. I had one patient really quickly that she said that she's eating healthy. She's drinking a lot of water. So when I went there, I looked at the urine, her urine, right next to her bed. She's 62 years old. It's black. Her legs are black. So circulation problem. So I said, how much water are you drinking? Oh, I'm drinking like 6 cans of soda a day. No water at all.
That's the water, right?
Oh my God, that's her water. So what we did is slowly, every 2 weeks, I said, we're gonna take out 2 cans of soda, okay?
That's
Because
impressive.
we can't do from 0 to 180 degrees. So I said, okay, every 2 weeks, we're gonna do 2 cans of soda, 2 cans of soda. We decrease it to half a can of soda a day, which is great.
That's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
Go back, look at the urine, looks normal.
Oh, it's different, yeah.
Look at her legs, and circulations is much, much better. She's more happy, she's having energy. She couldn't get up out of bed, and now she is moving, she is exiting the house. And that was my biggest fear. Like, if there is an emergency, if there is a fire, will you be able to exit
get
the
out.
house safely
Sure.
and fast enough with a good balance?
Yeah.
And so we don't see doctors like you. We really don't.
Let me just say, I tell this to my patients all the time, I'm not really a doctor. I'm just a guy. I have a very specific skill set. I don't define myself as doctor. The majority of my people come in, they'll call me Dr. Pete or Pete, depending on how long that you've been with me for. But I think what you do is of critical importance. One of the things that I really married myself to when I left corporate healthcare was outreach. Okay, now my office is in Colts Neck. We're in Monmouth County. It's a relatively affluent area. One of the things that I'm a specialist in, aside from intervening on the heart, I intervene on people's legs. So something called PAD, or peripheral arterial disease, where people don't get enough blood flow to their feet, to their toes. This is very prevalent in uncontrolled diabetics, in chronic smokers, and patients with kidney dysfunction. Okay? I have a company that we do outreach into the Oranges, into Newark, trying to help people who otherwise would not have access to care to someone with my skill set. I run a lab in New Brunswick, where when all of the major health systems shut down procedures to open up arteries, to revascularize, I filled a need that was generated because hospitals stopped non-emergent procedures, which really, that moniker makes absolutely no sense when we're talking about the heart or blood flow to your legs, because these patients, if they weren't treated appropriately, would end up in an emergency room having to have an amputation, being septic, needed to be admitted to the ICU because now they had a non-healing infection that was causing something called osteomyelitis, or an infection of their bone. So when we opened in September of 20, there was a huge unmet need of people who needed us. And I do things that the big healthcare systems don't do. We go out into the community to try and raise awareness, to do screening. I send texts into people's homes if need be, to do ultrasounds because these people need them to determine if they need a procedure or not. Why am I the only one doing it? It's a lot, and I can tell you, having been on the inside of corporate healthcare, they use phrases like patient-centered and quality. These are buzzwords used at meetings to make themselves feel better because all they're really interested in is making money. My organization is built on putting the patient first. And if you do that, no matter what, you always win.
Thank you, Doctor. And so, yeah. Thank you. And I think one of our sponsors has something to add to that. Yes, sir.
So, Dr. Pete, what I'm hearing you say, and especially the move from corporate medicine to a private practice, this is an overarching healthcare question, right? Because what you're doing and what you're talking about is more outcome-based, right? And the healthcare system is very transactional, right? Focused on the stints, like what you were talking about. How does an independent practice like yours address that and actually show the results of what value-based medicine is, so that that you can lead the charge for more people to follow the path that you're setting out to get those kind of outcomes? Thank you.
It's a wonderfully delicious question. So I hope I don't go too long on the answer. So the problem is, as you very well put, you don't get reimbursed for prevention. But I'm able to take my hands-on skill set and what we do from running a lab to leverage that so that I'm doing the prevention the right way. Okay? That we're getting people in, we're preventing them from being hospitalized, we're preventing them from needing procedures as best as we can. Now, there's no way to show, unless we look at long-term data for hospitalizations and put my patient patterns up against those of employed physician models, but the argument will always be these are different patient bases. The problem with trying to get other physicians to come out into private practice is very straightforward. The corporate healthcare system has bought up 95% of internal medicine practices in the state. Okay? And behind the curtain, they believe that once they own the primary care, they own the patient. And then it's a matter of controlling their healthcare dollars and where they're spent. Each of the healthcare systems in this state has special programs that allow them to monitor where every patient's healthcare dollar is spent based on where their practitioners are ordering testing, down to the CBC and chest x-ray. And God forbid, because I've seen it happen, God forbid somebody get a chest x-ray at a facility outside of the owned system. Well, there's a mid-level healthcare administrator waiting to give that doctor a colonoscopy as to why that happened. Because that's all they care about is the money. It's not patients. If we cared about patients and we cared less about money, we wouldn't be hiding behind a screen filling out an electronic billing record, which has shown no improvements in the delivery of health care. If anything, it's actually reduced the quality of healthcare delivery in an office and even worse in the hospital. It was designed by a programmer and a biller.
So those complexities developed for efficiencies are not necessarily helping with patient care, right?
Not at all.
Yeah. So as we come to bring the meeting to a conclusion, and I hope our guests could stay a little while longer, I want to finish where we started with some parting thoughts from Vincent and from Cindie on what folks can leave with today. You're our heroes. You're alive. You're here. You succeeded. You're present for yourselves and your families, and you're sharing your story with the folks that are here today. What, Vincent, would you like to share with folks as they're leaving today? And also, Cindie, if you could do that as well. And lastly, from Dr. Faruggia and Jim Schatzle, what's the next big thing that people should take out as well? But I want to start with the folks who are kind enough to share their personal journey today. Vincent?
Well, I can say from personal experience, the first thing you have to do is to be your best healthcare advocate. No one is going to advocate for you more than yourself. But that being said, you need to have a partner, whether it's your spouse, a best friend, a healthcare professional. If you are blessed to have a doctor like the one here, then that would be my advocate. My healthcare professional advocate would be you, Doc. And so whoever that second person is, they have to know your history. They have to be the ones that care about you. And even, I would say, the person that maybe when you go to see a doctor or a cardiologist, let them be there with you. Because that second pair of eyes and ears, we miss things as patients when we go into a doctor's office. And that healthcare advocate, your partner, can ask that question or hear that answer that you didn't pick up and can help you get a better picture of your situation. So that would be my advice. Be your own best healthcare advocate, but also seek out a partner.
Thank you so much, Vincent. Cindie?
I thank all of you for being here today, and I really hope that you'll take this information and pass it on to the next person, because prevention is key. Get your baseline. Don't ever think this can't happen to me. It can. It did for me. I never would have expected this at that age, ever. And it changed everything. Be positive. Try to get that stress out of your life. Put yourself first so that you can take care of the people that you love. Because if you're not, it's not selfish. And I think sometimes we're brought up to feel that way, that we're selfish by taking care of ourselves first. We have to, in order to take care of the people that we love. There are so many wonderful things in this life that we still want to experience, and we want to experience it in a healthy way, and we want to be here. So get your baseline. Encourage your friends to get their baseline, especially when we're into our 40s and 50s and 60s. Know that it could happen, and try to be preventative, and always trust your gut. Trust your gut. I would rather you go to the hospital 5 times than not go that day, because that might be the day. But thank you all.
Thank you, Cindie, so much. And thank you, Vince. Peter and Jim, what would you like to leave us with here?
Sure. So I think one of the big things is to be happy. We need to be aware of what we eat, how we move, and how we sleep. We need to give more hugs to people, because life changes in the blink of an eye. So that's what I want to leave you with today, is to make sure that you just be happy.
Well said. Doc?
So I think I'm very fortunate to have been here to represent myself, my team, my family. We have 2 beautiful people here who opened up about their own lives, and I think it's very impressive. I'm here to help, and you can find me fairly easily. And anything that I can do for you or for your family is where the value is. So if I'm not the guy for you, and again, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I am open and honest and about as gentle as a bull in a china shop sometimes. But you'll know where you are with me, and you'll understand why I set certain bars, because I think it's important for people to understand what they're doing to themselves. So it's been an absolute pleasure being here, and happy end of Heart Month.
That's right. And you know, I'm not so sure about the bull in the china shop when he is also a ballroom dancing pro, which is
I'm not a pro. I am only bronze level 3 certified. It goes bronze,
there's a-
silver, and gold in
so the
7
bull has a
dances.
soft side. Thank you,
Are
Dr.
there any videos? I'd like to see.
There's lots of videos.
I want to see
I
videos.
promise.
So we're going to round out the chamber. Yes.
I would
yes.
just want to say from the bottom of my heart. Oh, I didn't mean that, but I do.
Well done.
Thank you so much. This was an incredible panel today. I want to thank both of you. I'm so glad you're still here to share your story. You're changing lives just by talking today. So I definitely want to stay in touch with you. Dr. Pete, you have a new patient. I'll be visiting you very soon. We all need truth tellers in our lives. Well, and I don't believe you're a bull in a china shop. I love everything you said today. You're authentic. You truly care about the people you serve, and I want to be a part of that. And thank you also for being here and sharing what you have to say today. This is incredible. I want to thank Terrence and I want to thank Jeannie. They are an incredible couple that bring you this program every month on the last Tuesday. If you want to, yes, definitely give them a hand, please. If you want to be a part of this in a bigger way, come see us. You can be our next sponsors. There's sheets on the table. If you didn't get one, let me know. We'd love to spotlight you and your business. We need 2 people a month to help support this so we can keep this free to everybody that shows up. Thank you very much. We hope to see you all next month.
Thank you so much, and thank you again to Home Helpers, our sponsors, and CVU Orthopedics. I hope we all knew, I certainly will leave with a new appreciation of, well, my best friend is right here, my wife, Jeannie, that's for sure. I used to be Terrence Wall, now I'm Jeannie's husband, and I like it just perfect. But the new best, our best friend that's within us and walking with us, that has known us since before we were even born, to nurture and care for that best friend right inside us that's going to walk out with us today. Don't forget that best friend that's inside you right now. Thank you so much to everybody, and thank you to our guests. And Jeannie, I think...
Thank you. Yep, we're going to take a group picture. Everyone's going to get behind the guests there.
That's great. Thank you so much for being here today, and have a fantastic and heart-healthy end of February. Thanks for being here.
Saved my life.